LS3 swap. We did it in a 72 convertible Impala. As y'all can see. Guess what, YouTube? I'm satisfied, YouTube, YouTube! If you're working on an LS swap, or if you have the desire to do an LS swap, you gonna have problems. You gonna have issues. I wanna share with you today my issues and my problems and how I beat those problems, how I fix those problems. That way, we can make sure that you don't have the same issues and problems that I had, YouTube. All right? Make sure you watch this whole video, YouTube, because I don't want you to miss nothing, YouTube. I don't want you going out there spending unnecessary money and taking a whole lot of unnecessary time to get your project back up and on the road, YouTube, running right. So we're going to walk this thing over step by step. Let Chevys LS help you do your LS swap, YouTube. But what I need for you to do is to make sure you click that subscribe button, YouTube. Make sure you turn on your notification bell. That way you see all our new videos when we post them, YouTube. And I need for you to drop me a comment and say, I'm riding with Chevys LS, Tone. Let Chevys LS help you do your LS swap, YouTube. We a family, man. We gonna do this thing together. Y'all ready? Let's get to it. YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. This your boy, Tone coming back at y'all one more again, YouTube, with another great video on Chevys LS, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. We out here in the garage, and guess what? Ain't nothing nobody can do about it, YouTube. All right? Y'all ready to get to it? All right, let's get to it, YouTube. Get out, YouTube. Running good, YouTube. YouTube, man. This is my first LS swap, and I had different issues and different problems with doing my LS swap, YouTube. And I know it can be challenging, but today I want to share with you the issues and the problems that I faced. That way, you don't have the same problems and the same issues. And, you know, I'm just going to be honest with y'all, man. A LS swap, it can already take up enough time. But if you don't know this information that I'm about to share with y'all, I mean, it can even take a lot more time, unnecessary time spent. And it can also cost you a lot of extra money. And you know what? These LS swaps, they already cost enough. So my goal is to help save you time and help save your money. That way you can take that money and dump it back into your project and not spending a lot of unnecessary money. So y'all make sure that, you know, you pay attention to this video and make sure you watch this video all the way through, the whole video, YouTube, because it's some great information, man. All right, so first things first, you know what I'm saying? My biggest challenge or my biggest issue was the charging system on this LS swap. Let me show y'all real quick, YouTube. I know y'all see this is the LS3 swap in the 72 convertible Impala. And I'm just gonna show y'all this right here, man. I know y'all see this ground strap, this right here. And I'm gonna explain to you why I had to add that ground strap. So when I first got the car up and got it running good, the battery would die on me, and you know it wouldn't stay charged, and the voltage, it was charging like at 11.5 volts, and that ain't right. It's supposed to be at least 12 and a half, 13 volts while it's charging. And I tried everything, man. I had the alternator tested to make sure it was good. I replaced the battery. I did all kind of stuff. And I could not figure out why my car wasn't charging up the battery properly. I couldn't figure it out, man. And that was one of the toughest challenges. But I did some research. I talked to my dad, and I also talked to this guy at the auto parts store. And, you know, I just continued to be persistent about it, man. And I wasn't going to let that little problem whoop me. And what I found out in doing the research, let me show y'all. As y'all can see, man, y'all see this alternator is black, it's powder coated. The whole serpentine setup is actually black and powder coated. Even the brackets that mount to the engine that the alternator bolt to is also powder coated, YouTube. And the powder coat, it ain't allowing it to make a good connection with the block. And so after my research and talking to people and even reading the instructions, I didn't read the instructions till after the fact. And what I found out is that powder coat, if you got a serpentine set up and it's powder coated, they recommend that you add an additional ground to your alternator. Only because of that, all that powder coating, it don't allow it to make a solid grounded connection to the engine. And so that is what was preventing my car from charging properly. Once I added that ground strap, man, 13 volts, anywhere from 12.5 to 13.2 volts while the engine was running. It started charging like it was supposed to, YouTube. And you know, that's very challenging. That could be frustrating, man, if you don't know. But take note of that, man. If you got aftermarket serpentine set up and you got it powder coated, man, make sure you add you a ground strap to your alternator, man. That will help out your charging system. It'll make your LS swap charge exactly like it's supposed to, man. So don't forget that, YouTube. The next problem that I encountered was two of my fuel injectors. I couldn't get them to spray the gas like they were supposed to. And the only reason they wouldn't, they kept showing up as open. I kept getting an open code on them, and it was like it was no circuit. And I'm like, hold on a minute, man. And I had to backtrack. And initially, when I first got the car running, I was doing some troubleshooting and testing. And let me show you what I did, YouTube. So these are your fuel injectors right here. I got 4 on this side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You got 4 on the driver's side, 4 on the passenger side. And so I knew the engine needed gas and spark in order to crank. And I tested the spark. I took one of the plug wires off and stuck a screwdriver in it, turned the car over, and it got a bright orange spark like it was supposed to. So I knew that the car was getting fired like it was supposed to. And so I put that back on. So I said, well, let me just check the voltage on the fuel injectors. And so what I did is I took one of these out. I took this one out, and the first one on the other side, I took out and I tested the wires to make sure they was getting voltage. And true enough, they were getting voltage. But what I did is I took my multimeter and I stuck it down inside the pin in order to test the wire to make sure it was getting voltage. And whenever I used my multimeter and I stuck it down in that little hole, what it did is it widened the little metal thing up inside the connector to where whenever I plugged it back up to the fuel injector, it wasn't making contact with the fuel injector. And so the fuel injectors, the circuit was showing open because it wasn't connected. So what I had to do to fix it is, I know y'all see them two little prongs right there. I had to take some aluminum foil, kind of roll it up real small and stick it down in there. That's what I did. And what the aluminum foil did, I stick one piece in that one and one piece in the other one. So when you put the aluminum foil in it, then you stick it back down on the connector like that. See here, oh, like that. And stick it back down in there and put the little lock on, boom. It started making a connection with the fuel injector like it was supposed to. And also, whenever you plug that connection back in, make sure you use some dielectric grease. What that does is that will keep the moisture out of the connection. And I use dielectric grease on every single connection. On the spark plug wires, dab a little bit in there. On every single electrical connection that you have on your LS swap, make sure you use that grease, man. That'll keep moisture and keep the weather and stuff like that, and it'll allow it to keep a good connection and not get crusty and corroded and all of that stuff. And man, you don't know what all I went through, man. I had to call support. They had me swapping fuel injectors, swapping around the fuel rail, all kind of stuff. And we could not figure it out for nothing, man. And it was just a hassle. And so my advice to you is if you can't get your engine running and you testing voltage and stuff like that, don't stick nothing down in them little, in the connectors for your fuel injectors. Don't stick nothing down in there because you're gonna widen up the pins in there and it ain't gonna make contact like it's supposed to. And then you won't be like I was, running around like a rabbit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't know what was wrong. It was frustrating, man. And, you know, I don't want you to have that same problem, YouTube. So make sure that you never stick a multimeter down inside those little connectors that go to your fuel injectors because they're very small already and it's going to widen it up. And it ain't gonna make contact like it's supposed to. And your car ain't gonna run right when you do that. So that's a good rule of thumb, man. If you wanna test the voltage, man, get you another little wire, smaller, and stick in there, and then touch your multimeter to that wire. Don't try to force it in that hole, man, and widen up that connector, man, and then it's just broke. So that's a good rule of thumb right there, YouTube. Make sure you don't never do that, man. The next thing that I had an issue with, well, actually it's an issue right now, is, let me show y'all, YouTube. This right here, this plug wire right here by the oil dipstick tube, I think this is number 4. Number 2, number 4. This is the toughest spark plug to change out right here where my finger is pointing at. And I actually have, when I say I have an issue with it right now, it's because I can't get the spark plug wrench to fit on here. And so I had to order a special socket to put on this spark plug. I'll show it to y'all in just a minute. But I had to order a special socket to put on this spark plug. And then you put a wrench on it, like a box wrench on it, and turn it to get the spark plug out. And what's going on with it right now is even with that tool, you don't have that much clearance down there, man. And so the problem that I'm facing right now is the fact that that plug that I just showed y'all, it keeps getting loose. And every time it'll bag out, my car start misfiring. Only because I can't get the right draw on it to tighten it up. But I got a solution to that. I haven't implemented it yet, but I'm gonna let you know exactly what the solution is when I first started and I got this engine put in, there go my neighbor right there, y'all, Ken. Tell him what's up, Kenny.
Hey, what's up, YouTube?
Hey, y'all heard him, man. But what happened was I was excited. I was anxious, to get that LS swap in the car. And, everybody, you working on the LS swap, you're going to be excited. You're going to be wanting to hear it run. You can't wait till the day you hit that switch. And so, I wasn't rushing, but I didn't think about it. And the engine being out of the car, I already had the spark plugs in it. It was already torqued. And so I put the transmission in, and, I mounted the headers. And so what I should have did is I should have mounted the headers on the engine, just a dry fit, before I put the engine in the car. And then I could have seen that, I'm going to have some trouble getting these spark plugs out. And what I could have done if I had did that is I could have dimpled my headers. And you're probably saying, well, what is dimpling your headers? I'm going to show you. So what I should have did is I should have just taken a socket like this one you see, and you sit it on the header like that, and then you take a hammer and you wham, you hit the socket. You hit the socket, boom. And what it'll do is it'll put a dent in your header. And that's what actually needs to happen right here. I need to put a dent in this header. That way I can put a spark plug wrench on there and I can get that spark plug out with ease. And the easier way that I've seen people do it is with the headers off of the car. They'll mock the header up to the engine, and then they'll kind of mark it a little bit, and then they'll take the whole header back to a workbench and lay it down on the workbench. And that way you can put one end of the pipe on the workbench while you got the socket and the hammer, and you just wham, boom, you put the dent in it. And that way you can dry fit the header back on the engine and make sure you can get your spark plug out good. So what I'm facing now is, I might have to pull that header back off in order to fully tighten up that spark plug like it's supposed to be, so my car don't stop skipping. And who want to go through all that work, man? That's a lot of extra work. You know what I'm saying? Nobody want to go through all that. So my next LS swap, I'm going to make sure that I dry fit my headers with the engine out of the car, and I'm going to test and see if I can get all my spark plugs out with ease. I'm going to make sure I do that, man. And you know what? If I had a did that, that could have saved me a lot of time right now. Cause now I got to pull the header back off, and I got to pull the header back off, dimple the header, and then put the header back on and all that. And guess what? That's a lot of work, YouTube. That's a lot of work. So don't make the same mistake that I did. Make sure you do that, man. Take that extra time, dry fit your headers, dimple your headers where you need to dimple them at. That way you can change out your spark plugs with ease. You can tighten them up as tight as you need to. You can take the plugs out. You know, it's easier to take the plugs out. You can tighten up the plugs as much as you need to. That way your car don't be missing like mine do when that spark plug get loose. So that's another thing, man. So make sure y'all do that. You know what I'm saying? Another problem that I had, YouTube, is, let me show y'all real quick. Let me show you. So what you're looking at right now is the starter, where it goes in the transmission and it mounts to the block of the engine. And as you can see, that little cover on the left side, I had to cut it off in order for the starter to fit in there properly, YouTube. I just took some pinchers and I just cut it. I think I cut the other side too, but I didn't cut the part where the bolts and the screws go in. So only half of the cover is there. And I had to do that in order for it to work, YouTube. Every newer model car, they got this cover that goes right there, that your starter will go into that little hole. It's a little plastic cover right there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So make sure, you know what I'm saying, y'all keep that in mind. What I had to do is I had to cut that top part off and just had a bottom on there in order for it to fit up in there like it's supposed to. And it must have took me 2 hours to put that starter on and to figure out why it wasn't mating and butted up like it was supposed to. So remember that, YouTube. You don't want to have that issue. Another issue that I had after I got the car running good and got it driving around good is sometimes it would stall. It would stall, you know, when I went to take off, it'll kind of it bogged down like it was gonna cut off, man. And I ain't like that. And so I kept tweaking settings, you know, gas and fuel, and I even started playing around with the timing and this and that. You ain't gotta do none of that, man. If you got an LS motor and you got a nice size cam in it, it got a nice lope to it, like at least it's about a stage 2 cam, you wanna watch your idle. And what I mean by that is I had my idle in gear set at 650 RPM. And it sounded real good at the red light or in gear and you stop. It got that nice low sound real good. And so I wanted to leave it right there, man, because it didn't stall all the time, but it stalled sometimes, and it was the wrong time when it did it. And after I did some research and I talked to a couple of people, and I found out that, you know, you're at least supposed to be at 700 RPMs, man, while your car is in gear. Between 7 and 800 RPM in gear. And then that way, you know, you don't have those stall problems when you go try to punch it at a red light and have to bag off the gas. You don't want to have to do that. But what I did in order to fix that is I bumped my in gear idle up to 700 RPM. And when I did that, hey, it took away that stall. It didn't stall no more, taking off at the red light. I can get on it as much as I want to at the red light or from a stop, I could just punch it. I won't have that problem. When my car's in park, I set the idle to 650. They had that low, choppy idle, and it sounds good, you know, in gear. So when I put it in drive, the idle actually goes up just a little bit. So it sounds like this in park. Then when I put it in drive, it'll say you can hear it idle up a little bit. But that's okay, man. You want performance. You want your stuff to be right. You don't want to have to worry about stalling at the red light. You know, I highly advise you to do that, YouTube. You know, bump that idle up a little bit. If you having them stall problems, taking off from a stop sometime, bump that idle up just a little bit. That's going to take care of your problem, YouTube. Another issue that I had was with my fuel system. It was a combination of making AN6 fittings, only because I had never made an AN6 fitting before. I never made one. I never done one. This is my first time doing it. And I did the kind of AN6 fittings that had a little copper sleeves that go down, and then you put the fitting on, then you tighten it up. I never did that before. So it took me a while to get that right before I did the put the fittings on the lines and it didn't leak. And so now I can do it with ease because I know exactly how to do it. But my advice to you is, if you've never done an AN6 fitting, you know, just practice on it a couple of times. You know, give yourself, you know, some practice. Just do about maybe 3 or 4. And each time you're going to get better. And then around that 4th or 5th time, you're going to be able to do them just like me. Mine don't leak no more. None of them. Because I know exactly how to do it now. So that's a good rule of thumb too. Make sure y'all do that. And also, it kept losing fuel pressure. My gas tank is the original gas tank. I restored my original gas tank. I sealed it. I put my own electronic fuel pump inside the gas tank. I cut a hole in it and put it inside the gas tank. You can actually check that process out, man. LS swap fuel system. Click on that link in the top right corner and check that playlist out, YouTube. I show you how to do your whole fuel system on that playlist. Got some very, very important information on there that'll make your job a lot easier. I already did the leg work. So, but anyway, the issue that I was having, you know, it kept losing fuel pressure. And what I found out is that my tank needed to be properly ventilated. And, you know, I just had to set it up right. I had like 3 holes in my gas tank from the old canister system. And I had to block those off. And I had to put the proper ventilation valve on my gas tank. I cover all of that in that LS swap fuel system playlist. So make sure y'all check that out, man. That way y'all don't have those same problems that I had. But once I did that, boom, I ain't had no more problems, man. I could go up hills, down hills, turn corner, left, right. You know, the type of fuel pump that I use, it actually has a tray. So you don't need no sump in it. But these gas tanks on these 71 to 76 Impala Caprices, they didn't have a sump in them, but they got like this, they got a wall built inside the gas tank, and that helps the gas, that helps keep the gas to the front, you know, around the fuel pump. And then that tray that the fuel pump has helps it even more. So I don't have no gas starvation problems or anything like that. I highly advise y'all to take a look at that, man. That way y'all don't have that same problem. Make sure you have your tank properly ventilated And if you're doing an in-tank pump, you know, that's very, very important, man, so that your tank don't build up too much pressure and your tank don't let off too much pressure. And you'll keep that fuel pressure at exactly what it's supposed to be. That way your LS engine can operate at its best potential, YouTube. So make sure y'all check that out, man. Another issue that I had whenever we first put the engine and the transmission in the vehicle, I had the motor mounts, everything was lined up. Let me show y'all. There you go right there. Y'all see that long bolt right there? That goes straight through that motor mount. I actually had problems getting that bolt in. It act like it didn't want to line up, YouTube. It act like it didn't want to line up. And what I had to do is my brother that helped me put the engine in, one of my brothers that helped me put the engine in, he had to stand on top of the engine and kind of rock. I didn't have anything mounted on top of the engine. It wasn't nothing but the valley cover. The intake wasn't on it. So, he was just standing on the valley cover. And when he kept rocking on it, boom, rocking and leaning. That thing, and I kind of had my hand down there and it's just popped right in. Poop! That sucker popped right in there, man. Y'all make sure y'all check that video out too, man, of when the LS3 and the 4L60E, when we dropped it in the 72 convertible, man. That was a major milestone right there, man. So, these just a few issues, man, that I can think of right now. I think I actually made a video about some of them before, but I wanted to make another video, man, and bring everybody up to speed, man, with new issues that I encountered. So make sure y'all check out some of the other LS swap tips and tricks, man. If you like this video, man, we got a whole playlist, man, of LS swap tips and tricks, things that's gonna help make your job easier, things that's gonna save you a lot of money. I'm talking about a lot of money. Things that's gonna save you from frustration of you working on your LS swap, man, because this stuff take patience. And it's real easy to become frustrated. And so, I just started creating videos, man, of things that's gonna help make your job easier, YouTube. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm just like you. I can relate to you, YouTube. I got a job. I work a full-time job. I got a wife, so I'm a husband. I got young adults. I ain't got kids. I got young adults. I got grandkids. And, I got a lot of other stuff that I could be doing, man. I got a lot of other pressures of life on me. But I chose to make this video, man, and help you and bless you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to worry about nothing else. I'm going to stay obedient. I'm going to continue to do what God wants me to do. And, I'm going to keep making these videos that's going to help somebody. That's going to bless somebody, man. And so I want to thank y'all. I want to tell you that I appreciate every last single Chevys R Us family member. Thank y'all for watching, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. And do me a favor. Do me a favor and do you a favor. If you like this video, just share it with somebody else that you know. Just share it, man. Just share it with somebody else that you think might like this video. And guess what? You blessing me by doing that. But in turn, God is going to bless you. Because if you want God to bless you, you got to bless other people, man. You got to treat not other people like you want to be treated, but you got to bless people. You know what I'm saying? Whether it might be doing a small favor, it might be doing a good deed, it might be delivering a quick word of encouragement to somebody. You got to do something. You got to do something, man. And so this is why I like making these kind of videos, because I like to help. I like to help people, man. And, you know, this is something that, you know, I had to wait 12 years before God blessed me with the opportunity to do it. And I know, you know, if he blessed me, if you watching this video, know that you got people like me. I'm praying for everybody, man. I'm praying that God blesses you with the desires of your heart and allow you to complete your LS swap or whatever it is that may be on your heart, man. You might want to buy a house for your family, or you might want your dream home, or a car, or you might got a hurt back or something like that, man. I'm praying for you. Chevys R Us family, man. Know you got sincere people like me that pray for people. I ain't even got to know you, but I want y'all to know that I'm still praying for y'all. And I want y'all to keep me uplifted in prayer too. We're going to do this thing together, YouTube. We Chevys R Us family. So go ahead, click that subscribe button. Go ahead, turn on your notification bell right now. If you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and make sure y'all do that, YouTube. And also, drop me a comment and say I'm riding with Chevys R Us, Tone. All right? We're going to holler at y'all on the next video. YouTube.